In just a few hours, President Biden is set to deliver remarks on his administration's response to the surge in coronavirus cases. And then later today, he's expected to stop by the Senate Democratic caucus to discuss voting rights legislation and possible changes to the Senate's filibuster rules. So for more on all of this, let's bring in Nancy Cordes. Nancy, you were at the White House. Yeah, the president's got a full slate today, and what he says to both audiences will be very crucial. So let's start with the remarks to us, the general public, wondering about what the government is going to be doing to help to bring this coronavirus under control. What can we expect to hear from the president during his remarks today?
Well, what he's going to be talking about today, Anne-Marie, is the effort to surge federal personnel, medical personnel, to states and hospitals with the greatest need. We know that so many ERs are overwhelmed right now with new patients. There are new records all around the country. And so he is going to announce that federal military personnel, mostly doctors, nurses, that kind of thing, are going to be sent to 6 different states and specific hospitals within those states to help deal with the surge of COVID patients. This is something that the president announced back over the summer, that they would be deploying these surge teams. And so this is sort of the next wave of them. He's going to be appearing with the Secretary of Defense and with his FEMA director, not just to announce the deployment of those teams, but also to get an update from various states about how the deployments have been going so far. Essentially, what he wants to do here is show the American public that during a time when we are seeing record cases, that he's on top of it and doing what he can as president to help.
So, of course, hand in hand with how this country handles the pandemic is the economy. And the Labor Department announced that prices are up 7% from a year ago. I think if anyone goes shopping, you want to buy a pack of chicken, you already knew that. You didn't need the Labor Department to tell you. This is the fastest pace of inflation in nearly 40 years. So Republicans, of course, are blaming the Biden administration and Democrats for the hike. How could this impact the Democratic Party, I'm wondering, especially with this being a midterm year?
Well, the party in power always has to worry about what the economy looks like in an election because so many polls have shown that American voters tend to either praise or blame the party in power if the economy is doing well or doing poorly. So it's something that's definitely on the minds of many Democrats, and the White House is no exception. Now, the White House has been arguing ferociously, and we heard it straight from one of the president's top economic advisors yesterday, that this is a global phenomenon, that this doesn't have to do with something that the administration has done wrong. This is a global problem due to supply chain issues, due to so many workers being out because of COVID. They can't catch up. They can't produce goods at the same rate that they did before. And they argue that while inflation is still continuing to grow, that it's not growing at the same rate that it was last year. Now, that may be cold comfort to people who have seen the price of a pound of beef go up 16% over the past year. But that is the case that the president's economic advisors are making. They're saying, hang in there. We are seeing a deceleration in inflation month to month. But, whether the American people are going to be able to, really take in that distinction remains to be seen. And I think it's going to depend in large part on what inflation looks like when we get to October, November of this year.
That's very true. And it's true that, things could change from month to month, and the focus could be much larger if the economy is healthier later on, closer to voting time. Nancy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.